Hello everybody, welcome to this quick Game Week 37 early thoughts. Yeah, it's an unusual upcoming game week, especially after such a bizarre and arguably one of the most unusual FPL game weeks in a very, very, very long time. I can't think of a time in which results have just been so categorically all over the place that a lot of people would not have predicted what had happened in that particular game week in game week 36. You know, for argument's sake, Southampton drawing 0-0 with Man City. Even if they drew 3-3, we could almost say, well, they've got nothing to lose anymore. They're just going for it, and Man City took advantage of how they were attacking, so Southampton just conceded the 3 goals. Or if, for argument's sake, West Ham won 2-1 or 3-1 or 3-2 or whatever it is, the likes of Brentford, what if they'd have won more than 1-0 against Ipswich? Or Nottingham Forest drawing against, as Andrew put it in his video, one of the worst teams in the Premier League, and a team who haven't scored hardly any goals away from home, and yet they decide to score 4 goals in the last 2 games. You legitimately couldn't make it up. And I did say on a preview stream that we as FPL managers have to start worrying about these teams that have got nothing to play for. And especially, look, I'm looking at it here. I know that the likes of Ipswich, Leicester and Southampton are still absolutely garbage. They've had 1 win between 18 matches. They've had 1, 2, 3, 4. They've had 6 draws in 18 matches. But these are teams that are still causing issues. You know, you look at Ipswich's last 2 losses. They lost 1-0 to Brentford. Okay, they lost 3-0 to Newcastle. But in between that, they drew 2-2 with Everton. Where again, a game in which most people were looking at double, if not triple Everton defence for that in the free hit. That completely backfired. Leicester, 1-1, drawn 1, and the loss, okay, was 3-0 against Wolves. Point being is that the results are just all over the place. You got Southampton 0-0 against Man City, lose 2-0 against Leicester. They only lose 2-1 to Fulham. This is their last 3. And they get a 1-1 draw with West Ham. And it's very difficult now at this stage of the season, unfortunately, where, who was it? Nuclear Atoms, I think it was. I mean, these people don't even, I don't even want to mention these people. They barely even watch the channel, so, but he said something about what differentials to look at in the upcoming games, and I just said someone like Mason Mount, Amad Diallo, players that just haven't played all season, all of a sudden they're really fit and they're performing. Admittedly, they did nothing for Man United against West Ham, but I think Amarin probably said, like Sean Dyche used to do with Burnley in the FA Cup, just don't get injured. Got a final coming up. Don't get injured. Or in Sean Dyche's case, don't worry about the FA Cup. We're just worried about relegation. Just staying in the Premier League. So just don't do anything in the FA Cup that's stupid. Crystal Palace are doing their usual thing of just performing exceptionally well towards the end of the season. Fulham, 4 losses in the last 6. Bournemouth, obviously they lost at the weekend, but they're a team that have only lost, that was their first loss in 6. Brentford are probably, in fact, if I was to look at the form table at the moment in the Premier League, I think Brentford are potentially top. They're 3rd, 1 point behind Aston Villa. Aston Villa are top. Then it's Man City. And then it's Brentford. And as expected, Man City conceded 3 goals. Aston Villa conceded 4 in the last 6 fixtures. For Aston Villa, behind Newcastle are joint with most goals scored in the top 6 teams of the form teams. So the form teams at the moment are Aston Villa, followed by Man City, Brentford, Newcastle, Wolves, Chelsea. Chelsea are the worst team for scoring goals and conceding. Scored 8, conceded 6, which is shocking. The best team are Newcastle. And who are people talking about getting rid of this week? Yep, you guessed it. Isaac. For Watkins. And yet, as Andrew stated in his video, all Newcastle have to do is win their next 2 fixtures and they become second. What an achievement that will be. What an achievement that will be for Newcastle. Win their next 2 games and they go second. Just beat Arsenal, beat Everton, done. And they got a really good record. Ray said they got a really good record against Arsenal this year. You know, as Andrew was discussing in his video and joking around, but it's true. This season really does feel like if you just leave the team as it is, you'll do all right. And it's why my team up on screen, even though me and Ray have kind of had the odd voice message about who to be bringing in for this particular game week, I said to him, I'm just going to leave it after my depressive, suicidal Saturday. Oh, you're not going to be talking about that again, Steve. That's not allowed. Breaking the YouTube rules. Almost with this team, it's just leave it as it is. Just leave it as it is. Just leave it on the captaincy on Haaland. You know what? As I keep saying in the world of FPL, it happens so many times. And I know I sound like a broken record, but you know it's true. It's when you expect a player to do something, they don't do anything. And then the next match, when you've completely forgotten all about them and you potentially even bench them, they go and get the points you expected them to get against whoever it was. So for argument's sake, with the Everton guys, I expected the likes of Mikalenko to do really well against Everton. I think he gets 0 points. Next match against Fulham, no chance. Stick him on the bench. Oh, he's got 9 points. Because last night when I was doing a Patreon podcast, essentially, it was the first time I looked. So this is Monday evening. I looked at the fantasy football site, like the leagues and everything, and I was just wondering how on earth I did against my rivals, and I couldn't believe what I was seeing. I mean, I saw Blonde, she triple captain. Like, I thought I had it bad this particular game week. But there are people that are really, really good at the game that did a lot worse. She triple captain Visser. You had John Harris, who captained Cunha. There was Jason. Jason's bench is ridiculous. The game week that's just gone. You have the likes of Dan Burn, Jacob Murphy on the bench. It's sickening. And that's why sometimes when Ray does talk about the Telegraph game and the psychology, the difference in psychology about playing Telegraph / Sky, because they're the same game, basically, is that you know in your head, forget all the planning, that all aside, you've only got a specific amount of transfers to use. So the psychology is, I'm just going to stick with this team. FPL encourages knee-jerking. Even when I was doing the Patreon league, looking through the Patreon league, and I saw certain teams had done their transfers at pretty much team leak at lastminute.com. 13.29, 13.28. It's like Jack said, aka Danny Boy, on the message in the comments. He just said, you make all these plans, and then when you get some team leaks, you change it slightly, and it all just completely backfires. I mean, Andrews, aka FPL Nightmare, his is an extraordinary story. Just go and watch his video. I'm not going to go into it. Just go into his video. But the players, he basically, to summarise, if he hadn't played his free hit, he'd be 27 points better off if he'd have just left the team. 27 points better off. And that's the thing. You just know this week for argument. I'm just making this up now, but Haaland in the FA Cup's going to get a hat-trick against Crystal Palace. Kevin De Bruyne is going to provide 2 assists. Next match against Crystal Palace, Cunha's going to get a goal and an assist. You have the likes of Isaac kicking off against Arsenal, probably get a hat-trick, which is what Andrew's been predicting all week. Every single week it's always, he's due a hat-trick, I'll captain him. Oh, he just gets a late-minute penalty. Yeah, I'm going to captain him this week. Oh, he's blanked. Then he's up against Arsenal, one of the best teams in the Premier League, one of the best teams at home. Oh, he's gone and scored a hat-trick. But I've sold him this week for Ollie Watkins, who's done jack shit against Tottenham. You just know it. But when we play this game, we play it with logic. A lot of people will say the line, why would I want to play Newcastle defenders against Arsenal? Why would I captain a player against Arsenal? Tottenham have already come out and said we're basically playing a weakened team, so it means, well, let's attack Tottenham. Let's bring in an Aston Villa asset. You know it's going to end 0-0. You just know it. Even though Aston Villa's last games at home, a beautiful record, won the last 4, scored 1 against Fulham, 4 against Newcastle, 2 against Nottingham Forest, and 2 against Chelsea. So not exactly high-scoring games, apart from this, you know, when they battered Newcastle, when they were absolutely down and dead and buried. Other than that, there's actually score many at home. But like I say, the way this season's going at the moment, I mean, I saw a particular live stream last night that the thumbnail literally had Watkins in for Isaac. You got Andrew saying the same thing, Watkins in for Isaac. You got Ray saying the same thing, Watkins in for Isaac. Triggerlip saying Watkins in for Isaac. Don't bother. Don't even bother. As much as I'd love to sit here and say, let's just attack the game weeks, the last 2 game weeks, let's just attack. Leave the team as it is. Just leave it. This particular upcoming game week, I mean, it's fantastic. All the games are on Sunday, which is brilliant. There's no real direct standout captaincies this week. Not particularly. You got Aston Villa at home to Tottenham. Maybe an Aston Villa player, Rodgers, Watkins. Chelsea, Man United, avoid it like the plague. Everton, Southampton. West Ham, Nottingham Forest. Leicester, Ipswich. Brentford, Fulham. Well, Brentford, Fulham, maybe. Then you got Arsenal, Newcastle, Brighton, Liverpool, and of course in the next week at some point, Wolves away at Crystal Palace, and then Man City home to Bournemouth. It's a crap game week for captaincy. So it may be one of those where if you get in your headset, and it's the same as me and Ray, if we get in our mindset, whoever we bring in, that's who we captain. It could be one of those. Whoever you bring in, just captain and move on. It really could be that kind of game week. Because right now, those fixtures do not ooze confidence whatsoever. And right now, as I state, my team, Henderson, Milenkovic, Aitnuri, Vardiol, Eze, and Burmo, Alanga, De Bruyne, Haaland, Cunha, Isaac, with Haaland with the captaincy. Remember, Man City have got to win their next 2 games as well, because they're another team that could get second if they win their next 2 matches, and Arsenal mess up and Newcastle mess up. But yeah, it's going to be a very, very odd game. And then, of course, it's mad to think the following Sunday is the last day of the season. I think for a lot of us, I think I've said this every season for the past 3. I'll be glad when it's bloody over.